It is 3 in the morning, and you are staring at the ceiling again. Not because you are anxious in the way the self-help books describe. Not because something is clinically wrong with your wiring. You are staring at the ceiling because your brain filed a report 3 hours ago, and it is still processing the results. You replayed a conversation from Tuesday. You cross-referenced it with a pattern you noticed 6 months ago. You ran the simulation forward 12 possible outcomes, and now you are lying there, completely awake, holding information that no one around you asked for, and no one around you would even understand. And somewhere underneath all of that processing, there is a quiet, almost embarrassing feeling. A feeling that your own mind is the most exhausting place you have ever lived. If that landed somewhere specific in your chest, stay with me. Because today, we are not here to celebrate your gifts in the way that makes you feel seen for 30 seconds and then hollow for the rest of the week. We are here to look at the actual cost of the hardware you are running. I am Silas, and this is the Sentinel Paradox. The truth that no one tells you when they call you gifted, empathetic, or intense is that every upgrade nature installs comes with a maintenance tax. And if you have never been handed the bill, today is the day we open the envelope. Here is the foundational principle. Nature does not do free upgrades. A high-performance engine generates more heat and requires more cooling. A high-resolution display draws significantly more power than a standard screen. A sonar system sensitive enough to detect a submarine at depth is also sensitive enough to be deafened by a passing speedboat. This is not a flaw in the design. This is the design. When your nervous system was calibrated for high-fidelity processing, it was not given an asterisk that said, "except when it hurts." The same biological architecture that makes you exceptional is the architecture that makes you exhausted. You are running a high-fidelity operating system in a world that was largely built for low-power sleep mode. And while the flock around you is coasting at 30% capacity, your hardware is constantly redlining. The question is never whether the cost is real. The question is whether you have been given the tools to manage it. That is what this is. The first paradox is what I call the empathy sponge. Your mirror neuron system, the biological technology your brain uses to simulate the emotional states of other people, is calibrated at a gain level that most people never experience. When someone in your orbit is in pain, your amygdala does not just register the data point. It runs the full simulation. You do not observe grief from across the room, you host it. You feel the specific texture of someone else's anxiety, as though it originated inside your own body. And this is genuinely extraordinary. It is why people feel understood in your presence in a way they cannot articulate. It is why you can walk into a room and know within 90 seconds that something is wrong, even when every surface-level signal says everything is fine. Your emotional detection system is running at an accuracy level that functions almost like a biological lie detector. But here is the back edge of that blade. You cannot selectively absorb. The same system that allows you to hold space for someone's grief also means you are absorbing the ambient social noise of every environment you enter. A crowded room is not just loud for you, it is a data flood. You are processing the micro-expressions, the tonal shifts, the unspoken tensions, and the emotional static of dozens of people simultaneously. And your nervous system is paying the energy bill for every single signal it catches. Emotional exhaustion for a sentinel is not weakness. It is the predictable output of a system that never gets to go offline. The second paradox is the pattern prophet. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for high-order analysis, long-range planning, and systems thinking, is running simulations at a depth and speed that gives you what feels like an almost uncomfortable clarity. You see the structural fault in the family dynamic, before anyone else has admitted there is a problem. You clock the red flag in the business proposal in the first meeting, while everyone else is still excited about the pitch deck. You watch a situation develop, and you know, with a quiet and specific certainty, exactly where it is heading. And you are right. That is the extraordinary part. You are right far more often than the people around you are comfortable acknowledging. But here is the cost, and it is a lonely one. Seeing the pattern does not give you the power to make other people see it. You become the watchman on the wall, calling out what is coming, and the flock looks at you with a mixture of confusion and mild irritation, and goes back to whatever they were doing. The ancient Greeks had a name for this. Cassandra, gifted with the ability to see the future with accuracy, cursed so that no one would believe her. The loneliness of the pattern prophet is not social loneliness. It is the specific, grinding isolation of being epistemically alone, of knowing something true that the room refuses to hold. And over time, if you are not careful, that isolation starts to feel like evidence that something is wrong with you. It is not. It is evidence that your signal processing is operating at a frequency the standard receiver cannot pick up. The third paradox is the hyperfocus engine. When your brain locks onto a problem or a subject that activates its reward circuitry, the dopamine loop that drives your focus becomes extraordinarily powerful. You can go a mile deep into a single problem with a sustained intensity that looks, from the outside, almost superhuman. You achieve what I call serial mastery. You do not just learn things, you absorb entire fields. You build internal models so detailed and interconnected that your understanding of a subject starts to look less like knowledge and more like architecture. But the neurological cost of this is a phenomenon that is almost comedically unfair. The same brain that can spend 6 uninterrupted hours solving a complex technical problem will completely fail to execute a basic administrative task that takes most people 4 minutes. You forget to eat, you miss a bill, you lose your keys in the same place you always lose them. Because your executive function, the part of your prefrontal cortex responsible for task switching and routine maintenance, is essentially running on backup power while the hyperfocus engine is engaged. This is not laziness. This is not a character flaw. This is a resource allocation issue at the hardware level. Your brain is a laser, extraordinarily powerful in a single focused beam. And a laser, by its nature, is not designed to illuminate the whole room. The fourth paradox is the integrity pillar. Your nervous system has a very low tolerance for cognitive dissonance. When the stated values of a system, a family, a workplace, a relationship, do not match the observable behavior of that system, your brain registers it as a threat signal. You cannot simply decide to ignore the gap between what people say and what they do. The dissonance is physically uncomfortable for you, in a way that it genuinely is not for everyone else. And so you become someone who tells the truth, not performatively, not to be difficult, but because your system cannot tolerate the internal cost of pretending not to see what you see. This makes you one of the most trustworthy people in any room you enter. People bring you their real problems because they can feel, even if they cannot explain it, that you will not give them a comfortable lie. But in what researchers call a wicked environment, an environment where the rules are inconsistent, where manipulation is normalized, where the social contract is regularly violated, your integrity makes you a target. Predators identify your honesty as a resource. They know you will not gaslight them back. They know your word means something, and they will use that knowledge to extract from you. And the flock, the people who have made their peace with the shared delusions that keep the system comfortable, will experience your honesty as a threat. Not because you are wrong, because you are right, and right is destabilizing when the whole structure is built on a foundation of convenient fictions. So what do you do with a blade this sharp? You do not dull it. Dulling the blade is self-abandonment. It is the slow erasure of the very architecture that makes you capable of the things you are capable of. Instead, you strengthen the grip. The first move is energy auditing. Your system credits are finite. Every time your radar runs a full scan, every time your empathy sponge absorbs a room, every time your pattern recognition engine runs a deep simulation, you are spending from a biological budget. Most Sentinels run a deficit because no one ever taught them that the budget exists. Start treating your energy the way a high-performance athlete treats physical recovery, non-negotiable, strategic. When your battery is critically low, you do not owe anyone a full signal. Gray rock mode is not rudeness, it is triage. The second move is the truth teller's distance. Seeing the pattern does not make you responsible for fixing the pattern. This is one of the most important distinctions a Sentinel can internalize. You are not the system's maintenance crew. You are an observer with extraordinarily accurate instruments. Sometimes the most sovereign thing you can do is document what you see, hold that knowledge quietly, and let the system reach its own conclusions at its own pace. Watching from a safe distance is not indifference. It is the preservation of your own signal clarity. The third move is scheduled low-definition time. Your high-fidelity OS needs a cooldown cycle. This is not optional. It is a hardware requirement. Find the environments that ask nothing of your processing power. A walk without headphones, white noise. A repetitive physical task that occupies your hands and releases your cortex. You are not wasting time in these moments. You are running the maintenance protocol that allows the system to stay operational for the long game. You are built sharp because the world needs people who can cut through the noise. But the blade was never designed to draw your own blood. If the weight of your own superpowers is real to you today, drop a crossed swords emoji in the comments. Let the other Sentinels know that the tax is real and the upgrade is worth it. You are not broken. You are operating at a scale that requires better armor. Stay rare. Seal is out.